All right. So Proverbs chapter 16 and verse number 12. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse number 12. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Kings to commit wickedness, and of course, I'm using the enduring word, but of course, he mentioned Solomon. You can't wickedness. And it's wrong for kings to be wicked because it's far-reaching. Even David, remember, one of the reasons that David had the issues, everybody knew that what he had done. He thought it was in secret, but he had to send somebody up to do this and someone to do this, right? Word got back to him, she was pregnant, and he sends messages to her. But righteousness should be with the king. A throne is established by righteousness. It is an abomination for kings to commit wickedness because it filters down. It filters down to others. And by the way, they start saying it's okay. It's okay. It's wrong. Let's see. Some think that if a leader is, because the king is the leader, everything they do is justified. It's absolutely not. It is absolutely not. Next verse, number 13. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they that love him speaketh right. Righteous lips, those that will speak to the king in such a manner, listen to them. Have you ever noticed kings that have a good lead, somebody with them that's good? I have no doubt that President Biden has got some good people in his ear. This place couldn't be run. I know he has changed so much, but thank God we do. But he's not the only one. I reminded years ago that what was the lady, the black lady, Condoleezza Rice. Remember, President Bush depended on her. Secretary, she was just one of those people you listen to, which people who will tell you what's right, and you listen to them. So righteous lips, that's a delight of the king, and they love him that speaketh right, and that's true. It's an absolute truth about you want people that will tell you the truth. Kings need it. The wrath of a king is a messenger of death, but a wise man pacified. And read that from the NIV, brother. Let's see who's got it. Brother Reggie or Cam, either one of you. Verse 14.
A king's wrath is a messenger of death, but a wise man will appease it.
Yeah. A messenger of death, he delivers that. A wise man knows how to appease it. You know how to act the right way, say the right things. A soft answer turns away wrath. Grievous words stir up anger. You know, I've been in those kind of conversations lately. Mm-hmm. It's not hard. I have too. And sometimes it wants to get out of hand. And you try to, it's hard
to walk away. You just have to.
Well, not me. I can't. If I walk away, when you're in my position, if I walk out, it's like something bad's happened. Then everybody's in all the pieces because you're so-and-so with the pride. You can't just walk away. So you have to stay and say, have we considered? Can I say a word? Have we considered that maybe we should think, and I'm stalling, giving time to think about it and give me an opportunity to say the words, and you just lower your tone because it's an absolute fact. You have to be really clear. A wise man, he'll pacify it. No. A wise man, he'll appease it, right? The wrath of the king, you know how to do it. You know how to do the right thing. I had somebody argue this point not long ago, and they were right. They were absolutely right. And I was like, why are you arguing this point? I said, look, they caught you doing so-and-so, but I had a good reason. I know you did. You know you did. I know you did. But you know good and well, this is going to have a long-ranging effect. All you got to do is say, you know what? I'm sorry that happened. I'm going to do better next time. Say it in that kind of manner. Pieces are right up. Well, appreciate you owning up to that. No problem. You just do that. You're done with it. Well, I was right. You can always do that, but it doesn't appease the thing, and you have no control of that power that's above you. You know, I think it was Jesus who said, agree with your adversary while you're in the way. But if you don't, you're going to pay the uttermost farthing. Farthing, I think it says in the King James. Be careful. It's not worth the argument knowing that you're right. Have you ever seen people know they're right? They keep arguing that point. I know this is right about the Bible. Well, I know this is about so-and-so. And I know I'm right about it. And they don't believe it. And you keep arguing. That's the worst thing in a Christian's life. You know what? They don't believe it. And they're never going to believe it. It's not about the truth. They just don't want to believe it. Just appease it.
So knock the dirt off your feet and leave.
Yeah. Don't argue the point. They don't want it. In other words, you're trying to convince them of something and they've already told you, I'm not going to believe it. I don't want to believe it. Do they know the truth? They absolutely know it. They know what you're saying. And you say, if I say it a different way, they'll get it. It's that age-old argument about trying to, well, you know what? We still see that outcome like this, so we're going to educate them different. They already know the answer. So, but again, appeasing the king, that's how you do it. In light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is a cloud of the latter rain. And the king's face is life. The approval of the king is life. Stay on the good side. I mean, so I don't want to do that. I'm my own person. Common sense. You know who's in charge. That's the boss. Just get on the good side. You know, it took me a while. I won't say her name out loud where I used to work at, but that was so hard on me. And so what I did is I just catch up my work fast, go up to the desk. But you're working in a mill. There's like 50 people out there working and 3 servicemen. And so you go up to the desk that's up at the front, just up in the middle of it. You need anything, ma'am? I'm kept calling. You got any work? Yeah, I'm done. What you need? Well, I need so-and-so. I'll get it for you. And guess what? After a while, you can approach the desk easy. Anything bad happen? I made a mistake. I was getting delivered, and they busted. Well, that plastic bust like that, Harris. Don't worry about it. I got it. I mean, that's the way it is. Otherwise, I'd get chewed out, on things that, I had a boss lady. She died. She was 90-some years old. She just died recently. My wife knows she was so instrumental. And that's what happened. I had to learn how to, whatever she said for me to do, you do it. So one day she says, well, we got so-and-so to do, the truck's tore up. I'll figure it out. So I did. I figured it out. I figured out how to do it. And she couldn't believe I did. And I did that for about a month. And guess what? I came back, got a ticket. They ticketed me while I was on the sidewalk. I brought it in. Don't you worry about it. I got it. I take care of it. And that's the way it was, because I did I figured out something. You be good to the king. Do what they tell you to do. So, well, that's not right. I'm doing my job. It's about me. No, this in the light of the king's countenance is life. Be there before. Do what they tell you. We had 3 trucks. We had a big one to carry big furniture in, and a small one to carry little stuff. We had a medium one, and it had a lift gate on it. You pick them old pianos and them big pick it up on there and put it on there. But the pianos, you couldn't move them. Guess what? It broke. Selling all them pianos. So I figured out how to, I could get it up on that little truck, put a ramp up to the other one. That's what I do. But one of them was turned the wrong way. And you can't park in the streets. It's got to be the right side there. Passenger side's against there, and it got a ticket. I've had many times in my life, it saves you. Just whatever they tell you to do, just do it. But that ain't part of my job. No, it's not. But it says, in the light of the king, in the light of the king's countenance, and his favor is a cloud of the latter rain. The latter rain, of course, the early rains, etc. But that latter rain, you got that last rain you needed to get that corn in. And you're out there like, boy, it's fruiting now. We need that. Boy, that rain comes. You're like, a farmer would know that. He said, that's the way it is with it. It's going to be good. It'll pay off in the end. Comments? All right, moving on. How much better it is to get wisdom than gold, to get understanding rather than chosen silver. It is so much better. You don't need the money. You need the wisdom to know how to get the money. You don't need it's better to have wisdom and understanding than all the money. By the way, have you ever noticed people that ain't got much sense? How many of those boxes we knew that was broke? They made hundreds of thousands of dollars back in the 70s, make big money. Was it Bronecrusher Smith was broke, and I mean they had all that money and couldn't keep it. We see that all the time. No, better to have wisdom and gold, understanding. That's simple. The highway of the upright is to depart from evil. He that keepeth his way preserveth his soul. The highway of the upright, the path of your life, is depart from evil. He that keepeth his way preserves his soul. You know what's right. And the one who walks the right way, he preserves it. Next verse, 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Pride, when you know you're right, and you think you're right. By the way, have you ever had when you knew you were absolutely right and you were wrong?
Yeah.
We've all had those. Did you learn from that lesson?
Yeah.
I'll never say that again. There's no way that's going to happen, right? We had this. What was it? Not on Monday night. Monday night we had that, right? Oh, no, it was last night's lesson was loud. It was up. There is no one but the gods that could do what you're asking us to do.
Yep.
And there's no way it could have happened. It was in Daniel when they asked him to, the astrologers and the Chaldeans and the sorcerers they were supposed to interpret a dream. And they told Nebuchadnezzar, look, tell us the dream and we'll interpret it for you. No, I don't know. Tell me the dream. Nobody could tell you that dream. Only the gods could do that. Absolute statement. Guess what? There was a man to do it. Don't ever say you know. It's like, by the way, it's one of those the laws of the physics, I call it. I say these are the things woven in the fabric of the universe. There's no such thing as pink elephants. Really? You have infinite knowledge? Have you crossed the entire earth? Well, I've been over the whole earth and searched, and there's none there. Maybe they moved before you got there. Yeah. Well, no, I had everybody covered. Okay, maybe they already died and were buried. Have you searched under the ground? You have to have infinite knowledge. There's no such thing. Have you been on the moon yet? No. How you know not there? You can say some things, but be careful when you say absolute truths. This is an absolute truth. And you know this is an absolute truth, right? Well, I know good and well you're supposed to put water on a fire. Really? I think the Bible says fire licked up some water one time, didn't it? Don't say what you think you know. Say whatever the Lord says. That's fine. But again, pride goes before destruction. A Holy Spirit, you think you know it all, but you're going to fall. Your pride is about me. It's my way. It's all about me. I know this, and I'm better. Pride, when you're self-centered. Remember 1973, 74? We had that thing in school. We did that. Self-control. It was the years. That was the era of self-control, self-so-and-so. It was all about self in the 1970s. We just remember that because they teach you self-control in school. And we'd always grab my hand by, self-control. I can't do it. They said, look, hey, man, come here. And they grab you by your arms and hold me back. I'm going to get him. Hold me back. It's self-control. About self. It's all about self. Haughty. It's a fall. We've read this on numerous occasions. Better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide and spoil the proud. Divide and spoil the proud, meaning you've made a lot of money, plenty. We're dividing it up and be with the proud people. You ain't going to like where you live. You're not going to like where you live, as opposed to some of poor people. Better to stay with poor people and live good with the lowly people because you got happiness there. But with these kind of people, you're not going to be happy. It's not. You got all the money in the world and it just destroys you. Have you ever seen that? Yeah, we know that. We've seen this for years. People that make a lot of money and they're unhappy. They're not happy. And they're proud, and you don't need that kind of money. Be poor, yeah, you have a better time, don't you? We forget how simple life makes much happier people. But it's better to be poor like this. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. Handling a matter in the right way will find good. Wise words, knowing how to handle it, will find also comes because of a true and confident trust in God. The person trusts in God. Hey, listen, he that handleth the matters wisely shall find good. Whosoever trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. You find an answer to a matter. You handle it wisely. And we're going to get into some of these proverbs in a few moments. It's going to talk about how do you handle when you have things. Be wise about how you handle it. I find, and this only because of experience of making so many mistakes, of how you're supposed to say, just let it go. Just let it go. Sorry, I got you. Or, hey, can I get you offline and talk about this? You try to get people out of a situation because you know something bad's going to happen. But speak wise words. It's not about you and what you think. You're trying to watch the room. You're trying to watch the situation. Wise words. The wise words. He says, whosoever trusts in the Lord, happy is he. Because you're going to trust how the Lord would say it. The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of lips increaseth learning. And sweetness, of course, is the sweetness of lips. I think it made mention of the honeycomb in that regard. Wise, honey, like wise, well-spoken words. The heart, it says, the wise in heart shall be called prudent. They handle matters in a proper way. This is the third time this has been said here, I think. Try not to make your point over and over. When you know you've made your point, you've said it, they don't believe it. Read the other person. They don't want it, or they don't agree with you. Ask them, well, why don't you agree? Because so and so, and you know it doesn't hold water, right? You know there's nothing you can do with that. Just walk, Brother Bobby said, walk away. There's nothing you can do for that. You're just losing time. And you speak wise words, but no, it'll be prudent. Sweetness of lips increaseth understanding. Being wise about how you address people in situations, the words you use. Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that hath it, but the instruction of fools is folly. You don't need them to be telling you how to do things. You know, the question was asked to me today, and well, you never come to show me. Well, we're going to get them there. He never comes. So you know what? I'm trying to figure out somehow how to do it on the computer. Who did good on this last time? And my colleague, I mean, she's one of those. She got good. I said, listen, tell me how to do this. You did it the right way, so teach me how to do it. That's wise. Instead of just trying to figure it out on your own, going to others, tell me how you do it, because you met all the qualifications, you marked all the boxes, and you learned from it. Understanding it's a wellspring of life. But instructions of fools, people that say they know but they don't know. You know, I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express. You know, that kind of person that thinks they know but they don't know. You know, the old joke. Hey, when you get to the part that they say, call the doctor, I'm here. Remember? You don't know? Understanding is a wellspring of life. A spring, it means it's just always life. Understanding. The heart of the wise teacheth his mouth, and addeth learning to his lips. Teaches his mouth, you know, when to speak, when not to speak. You take time with that. You know, you can be right about something. I had an issue where you have to know when to go ahead. It doesn't mean you back down from an argument. It's just to recognize, you know what? Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. You walk away. And she comes to you a week later. I thought it was okay. My boss said I have to do so-and-so. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I didn't want to get in an argument with you. You were just doing your job, telling me that there. And I know you were just doing what you're supposed to do. So I just went above you and asked him and said, look, you need to do something. This is what it said. And he says, okay. Because you figured that comes from learning. Watch your mouth. Watch your lips. That's a person just doing their job. They're telling you what the boss said. They really don't believe it, but they got to say what the party like to keep their job. They have to. There's sometimes people get caught. And so understanding that in verse number 22, and the heart of the wise teaches his mouth. Look, don't say something here. Add learning to his lips. Have you noticed how much is about your speech? What you say? Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Pleasant words. Speaking good things. Well, that's why you love to go to God's house and get some pleasant things, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so wonderful. But I'm telling you, and I've been in places it's not. I'm going to get this off my chest. I hate to go and mess with people that, you know what, they're always finding fault. I mean, my brother used to say, they're high maintenance people. All the time. You can't have a good conversation. They get offended easy. You say something, well, you know, they're going to get mad with you. Goodness. You can't. Okay, I'm done with this. Let's just go. Negative. They're always looking for fault. Christians shouldn't be like that. We're supposed to be pleasant. We should be able to come together. And if your brother says something, go to him and tell him, hey, that's not quite right in the conversation. You're right, brother. I sure would. I wasn't thinking about that, but just something simple, but not to get offended. And next thing you know, they're going to the preacher, going to so-and-so. Well, like me, they show up at the conference and bring up for the conference. Oh yeah, I've been there. I don't know if there ain't many situations I ain't been in. Let's get rid of him. Okay, I understand. But he says pleasant words. It's like a honeycomb. Be kind to people. Be kind one another. What's that? Ephesians 4, and that just came to my mind. And be ye kind one to another, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake has forgiven you. Is that Ephesians 4:26, Ephesians 4:29? What you,
Ephesians 4:26.
you wrote that one down. Praise the Lord. It's Ephesians 4:20.
That's it.
25, somewhere between 25 and.
Ephesians what, Aaron?
That ain't it. Ephesians, what you said, yeah, not what he said. He said Ephesians 4:26, that is 4:32.
432. Thank you, brother. It was over there in the fours, okay?
I had a range, I didn't know what it.
You had to raise it? Okay, yeah. But it says, and be ye kind one to another. And it says, forgiving one another. Even as God for Christ's sake forgave you. So just forgive people. I mean, most of the time don't say nothing. Well, they said that hurt me. Just let it go. There was no intent to hurt you. Well, their words hurt. Ah, come on, please. Just be pleasant. Forgive people. Be kind one to another. You know? And people like that. It's just, you can't do that. It's not godly.
Do you ever just walk into a situation at 7 o'clock in the morning and it just don't look good?
You automatically know it's.
Don't feel
You just want to
right.
set the truck,
You
don't go in there.
you want to say some stuff and then go set the truck. And what you do is you get out to the truck.
There you go.
Back to what you were saying, a
Go ahead.
verse or two back, there's a saying, when you try to convince an idiot, all you end up with is an enemy. That's a true statement.
Yeah. That's right. When you're giving more truth to someone who doesn't want it, you're just making it worse.
An enemy.
It doesn't help at all. That's an absolute truth. That's really what he's saying. Just don't argue with him. Just let it go. Hey, I'm good. Hey, whatever the king says, let's do it. It's not, I used to hear it all the time. Well, that ain't my job description. Oh, come on. My job description. Pick up the trash. Like I said Sunday, pastors, pick up the trash on the yard. I mean, just everybody do it, you know? That ain't my job description. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. They're the same ones I always have trouble with. Well, listen, verse 25, if you ain't marked it, please mark it. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, there are no other ways of death. There's a way that seems right. In other words, if you follow what you believe, if you follow your way, many times you come up short. It seems right, but it's not right. It seems correct, but it's not correct. Yeah, at least that. But the ends are the ways of death, because when you, listen, do you know why you can't follow your way? Can anybody can you tolerate it one more time? Let me tell you the brother, Mr. Conway's story. Can I tell it one more time? My wife said no. My wife used to say no.
Tell it.
But, okay. I got to tell it one more time. So the country store, Mr. Conway Russian. Because it's okay. The way into the ways of death. Following your own way. So Mr. Conway had a local store. It was a country store, but he made keys. And he did it on the side. So I go in and get me some hoop cheese. He got the whole hoop cheese there. And he's working with this lady, and he said, I'll be with you in a minute, Dr. Harris. I said, okay. I just come back to town. He says, and she walked out and he says, it took me all this time trying to help this lady to get a key. I said, what's wrong? He said, well, she brought me a key and said she needed another key made. So I took it, I put it in, I made a copy, and I gave it to her. She said it didn't work. She brought it again. I filed it down, did it again. I made it smooth. It didn't work. So she said she came back, and I've been talking with her, and she finally told me the key she had didn't work. I was making a copy of a bad key.
It was gonna get better right.
And it wasn't going to work. And I finally got that you're convinced of that. You think you know it, but there's a way that seems right in their ways of death. In other words, if you think you can do it, guess what you're a bad key. You can't make a right decision. Without God, you can't. You can't even get saved unless John 6:44 happens. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him. You don't even know to get saved. Everybody wants to do their own way, and God has to come and intervene in your life to draw you. You can't do it your way. You're just copying a bad key. You're like, remember the Midas touch? You got Satan's touch. You got that sinful touch. Everything you touch turns to sin. In fact, guess what? That's why God's got to burn everything up. Everything we've touched, we've corrupted. Even the Bible says creation groans waiting for the to be redeemed. Brothers and sisters, we are the problem. I think it was G.K. Chesterton when he asked a question in the newspaper. I remember this story from Ravi Zacharias. They were at a question paper. What's wrong with England, or what's wrong with the city, or what's wrong with the nation? And he wrote it back and says, I am. And he signed his name. He says, you must know that yourself, we're the problem. We want to follow our way and not God's way. There's a way that seems right, but it's not. It ends with death. Always been that way. He that laboreth for himself, for his mouth craveth it of him. Oh my goodness, this is good. I love it. Please read that. Brother Adrian, read that in NIV, that verse number 26.
The laborer's appetite works for him, his hunger drives him on.
What's that? Crazy.
You know what, man? When a man's hungry, he'll work.
No, some of them.
Yes, he will. Promise you. Promise you. You know what? He's getting. Somebody's giving him food. Listen, get hungry and see what happens. You'll go work. You ain't got hungry. Yeah, that's work, right? They'll still, but guess what? You'll go to work. You'll find out how to do it. You will go to work, and this is the book. Is it 1 Timothy 5 verse? For even when we were with you this week, commended you that if anyone not work, neither should he eat. Or 2 Thessalonians, but if any provide not for his own, especially they of his own house, behold, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. It's that kind of terminology. If a man gets hungry, he'll work, and he'll work good to get what if he's got to eat, right? Guess what? The Mexicans come here, they got nothing. Guess why would they work so hard? When they're Mexican, they work hard. No, they got to eat. When you got to eat, you got to work to eat. You're going to work hard. But as soon as you promise you, get on the welfare system, get on the system where you don't have to work, guess what? They become just like everybody else. Everybody becomes the same when you get into that system. And welfare is good for the people that need it. We got grown men that can work a job and well, I can't work. I got so-and-so. Well, I reckon so. You caused this. Your lifestyle has destroyed yourself and you can't work. You know, Brother Glenn's a terrible person. But just let me tell you, a man that laboreth, he that laboreth for himself, for his mouth craveth it him. When you're hungry, he'll eat because he's worked. That's what drives a man to work. Mm-hmm. That's a common sense approach. We need to solve hunger in America. Have you heard that? Mm-hmm. People are falling through the cracks. Really? Where's the man at? Where's the man at in their life? Where's the man at in their life? There should be a man there that's providing for the family, right? And there are people that man's working, trying to make people help those folks out. You see a man struggling, trying to provide for his family, please slip him some money. He needs it. We need to encourage that kind of thing. And especially because God says that. A man working, trying to provide for someone, and he don't want to tell people how poor he is. We need to help those. But is that not a true proverb? You get hungry enough, you'll work. Yeah, you'll work. Well, I'm going to wait on the Lord. Guess what? He'll get up and go get a job. He gets hungry enough. Be begging for somebody to help him. I'm not giving you something, but I tell you what, you rake these yards out here, I'll give you something to eat. You'll rake them. I ain't going to do it. Go ahead. You let them starve to death? Oh yeah. You sit there and watch him die. Starvation, he need to die. That's the way, this is how God is. If you don't work, you don't eat. In other words, if you're too sorry to work, you shouldn't eat. Why is God so cruel? Because it's a fundamental point in the scriptures. God commanded the man he would work with the sweat of his brow. You ladies that's got a job, God didn't say that to you. But a man is supposed to work. And that's a command in the beginning that when the curse came, man's going to work with the sweat of his brow. You can't override that. And that's why you'll find this throughout the scriptures about work. An ungodly man diggeth up evil, and his lips are there as a burning fire. He digs up gossip. We're going to get into this gossip stuff. He digs up evil. He brings it up. And to use it for himself, right? You find some dirt on somebody. Oh, God. It's the old, what was that? Ed Asner played a show with Barry Tyler Moore. Mm-hmm. And he had one of the episodes where he said, there's some dirt on this guy. Go find it. Wasn't no dirt on him. They're trying to get something on somebody. But he said, an ungodly man, he digs up evil. His lips are there as a burning fire. On his lips, like a burning fire. Then he wants to tell everybody. Loves to dig up gossip. And then it's on his lips, there's a burning fire to tell it. Brother Ray, read that from the NIV, that verse number 27.
A scoundrel plots evil, and his speech is like a scorching fire.
That's what he said. All right, a froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. A perverse man sows strife. Love to cause trouble. Love things to be testy. And a whisperer, that means a gossiper, separateth chief friends. Best friends in the world, and will separate them. right? I mean, they destroy them. People that would never turn against each other. Sowing gossip. Love trouble. There are people like that. By the way, they will infiltrate your church as well. A violent man enticeth his neighbor and leadeth him to the way that is not good. He entices his neighbor, brings him in on it, and leads him to a path that's not good, leads him down the wrong way. A violent man. He shutteth his eyes to divide froward things, moving his lips, bring evil to pass. All right, Brother Ray, read verse 40 for us.
That's 30.
30.
30, I'm sorry. Yeah.
He who winks with his eyes, plotting perversity. He who pursues his lips is bent on evil.
Yeah, plotting things. Shuts his eyes to device. He winks his eye at perverse things. In other words, I don't, it's okay. Let it go. It's not, I don't care about it. His lips bringeth evil to pass.
Instigator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said so-and-so about you. I don't know about you. You going to take that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 31. You ready?
I like that.
The hoary head in the King James, that's a silver-haired man, is a crown of glory. That old man's a crown of glory. If it be found in the way of righteousness. Silver hair, I know, but that's why he says he qualifies it. If it is found in the way of righteousness. Silver head is a crown of glory if it's found in the way of righteousness. I can tell you at age 24, I found out silver hair don't mean wisdom. I had, oh my goodness, some of the hardest people we had were senior citizens sometimes. I've been in church a long time, and there's a few that were just, oh my goodness, mad, angry. I think the worst time I saw silver hair acting out was, I won't even call this church's name. Had a wonderful service. It's great. I've told this story 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. And the pastor up there got two senior ladies up there chewing him out because early in the service, some visitor, a lady was older than everybody else at the church, and she got the peace lily because she gave it to the oldest mother. And she was the oldest one, and these two ladies were members, and they were just mad as far because it should have gone to them. And it was like, oh my goodness, I know you're not. And chewing the pastor out. I mean, it's like, and the church didn't even wait for the service to get over with.
Are you kidding?
And I'm not kidding you. It's sad, but if it is found in the way of righteousness, you should have some knowledge being older, but it has to be with righteousness. I learned a long time ago, there are people that would turn on you. And like Brother Matt Harris says this on occasion. He says, sometimes old people is just young people that got old. It took me a while to figure out what he was saying. They're just young people that got old. It just had never changed. But it says, if it's found in the way of righteousness, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. He that ruleth the spirit than he that taketh the city. A person that can be slow to anger and rules his spirit can hold it back. You know what? He's better than a man can take a city. He ain't got that kind of power. The man that control his spirit, far greater than a man that can sit there and fight, take a city. Really? Takes far more for that man. It's far more for him to do this. Slow to anger is better than mighty men. Slow to anger. It's one thing to get angry and sin not. Slow to anger, how do you de-escalate it? I can get angry. Let me make sure it goes slow. Take it easy. Well, sometimes it's tough like that. And sometimes you say, wait a minute, let me get on the phone and call my wife. And the very thing to Sunday, did we? Amen. Just, wait a minute. Take my time about this here. Slow to anger, so I make sure I handle it the right way.
Call Jesus too now.
So what now?
I said call Jesus.
Yeah, but the point he's talking about is take your time and be slow to anger so it doesn't escalate so fast. One of the things of peacemakers that people can de-escalate a situation. There's an art to do that. He's dead and gone, but one of our guys, our doctors, he got saved later in his life. Oh my goodness, he was so changed. I remember Dr. Brad Bethel, man, one day he just walked in and they was having a meeting and all of a sudden he said, let's open prayer today. He said, I'll pray. He could pray. The Lord saved him. But he had an art through the years. I remember we get in some of the big meetings, and it's just a tension. You could cut it with a knife. He could de-escalate people. He just could talk and say things in a way that By the time he finished, like, okay, well, okay. It was everybody kind of saw it in a different way. There are very few people have that ability. 33 is a little tough. The lot is cast in the lap, but every decision from the Lord. The lot is cast. They're casting lots. You can do whatever you want, but our decision's God's. You can throw the dice. You can make whatever rules you want how to make something happen, but it's going to be God's way. The lot is cast in the lap. Of course, I think the one I read was about the lots that were cast in the Bible many times. But the last one, of course, the diamond, the famous one, is in chapter 1 of the book of Acts. Anybody remember that lot that was cast in chapter 1 of the book of Acts? Correct. You know, they take a bishopric, another man take Judas's office, and they cast lots, and the lot fell on Matthias. Judas was named Matthias, and we never heard about him again, did we? Never, ever. By the way, have you heard that before?
What's that?
When they elected somebody else to take Judas' place?
That was actually part of the question and trivia, Bible trivia question, Bonnie.
Was it?
The other day.
Did you get it right?
No, but I knew. I had to see the reference, so I knew. I know now.
All right. Yeah. But the thing is, they jumped the gun. I believe. I think it was wrong. They were casting lots. Should have waited on God, because we know, of course, 13 books in the New Testament were written by the Apostle Paul, and he was an apostle. He did see the Lord. He was taught by Christ for 3 years, just as the others. Makes sense. You never read about the guy they chose.
So you
They
said
cast
Paul
lots.
should have been the 12th disciple.
Correct.
Paul?
I always thought that.
He
Yeah.
was he saw Jesus on the
He
mountain.
was a disciple.
No, not Paul. Not on the Mount of Transfiguration.
No, not Paul. He didn't.
He met him on the road to Damascus.
Yeah, the running man.
He met him on the road to Damascus and was saved. But he spent 3 years being trained on the backside of the Arabian desert. Okay.
Peter and John.
Yeah. But Peter and them, they cast lots on 2 men, which is what you never do with God.
Right.
You never got to, hey, God, we got these 2 men. Who should we choose?
Who was
Give me one of them.
What is it? Bartimaeus and Matthias? What?
Judas, whose surname is Matthias, and Barsabbas.
Barsabbas.
However, the corollary to this one, to the Old Testament, was when God said, hey, Moses, you're not going to the promised land. Lord, who should we get to take over afterwards? Even though Joshua had been in with all them years, absolutely the man you should choose is, oh, God, who do you want? You don't say, God, I got these 2 candidates. Who should we get? God says, I may not want either one of them. Let me make the choice. Anyways, we're going to run out of time here.
Well, just keep on. Look at
We might as well keep going because you ain't going nowhere, is it? Oh, look at You're absolutely right. It's pouring rain out. You can hear the rain is pouring so hard.
I mean, we can see it.
My wife was on down. He said, be 15 minutes, heavy rain's coming. Well, 50 minutes later, it's an hour later, it's here.
Mine was right too. We said what time it'd be here, and it was your
Well,
time.
Boy, it's really hard. Absolutely. All right, ready?
Church.
Better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. Sacrifice means a lot of
So we
meat.
went to chapter 17.
Chapter 17, verse 1. 17, verse 1. Chapter 17, verse 1 of Proverbs. Better is a dry morsel. I mean, absolutely nothing. In other words, I need something to eat. I got a few croutons in here, as opposed to having some steak and potatoes. And he says it's better to have a dry morsel with quietness, where you got peace in your house. Now, house full of sacrifice, there's a lot of strife in your house. I mean, you've been in those places. Trouble, strife. Have you ever had a time when you and your husband wasn't on the same page? Or you and your wife wasn't on the same page? Or you having trouble with your children? Or trouble in the household with your brother and your sisters fighting? Or mama's upset with so-and-so. And just strife. It's better to be poor and have nothing than have a lot of food and just strife. Is there a wise servant shall have rule over a son that causeth shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. Now, this is it's kind of a unique term. It says, you got an unruly, ungodly son. The servant, a wise servant, will have rule over a son. They'll be over the son that caused shame. He'll have part of the inheritance among the brethren. Brother Reggie, would you read that in NIV, verse number 3? No. Chapter 17, verse, I'm sorry, I apologize, verse 2. My fault.
A wise servant will rule over a disgraceful son and will share the inheritance among the brethren.
That's right. And back then the servants would receive the inheritance. Where in the scripture do you find that? Thinking as a trivia question.
What now?
Where a servant would look to be part of the inheritance.
Josh.
Sarah.
No, tell me the situation.
He was sold for silver.
Where a person, a servant would get inheritance like the children. Had to do with Abraham.
There was no son. Sarah.
No descendants.
Who was the servant?
No descendants.
Oh,
Correct.
Matthias.
You got it. That's right.
What, Tasha?
She knows she knows the situation. She done her part. Y'all just give me the name.
David, he honored the boy that was,
Sarah and Abraham.
No. A servant
I know,
in the house.
Because of them, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And somebody said,
Thank you.
and Abraham says, Lord, I don't have anybody. I've got no one. And blank, a steward is my only inheritance.
Yeah.
A steward, remember? He was a servant. What was his name? Okay, I'm going off my memory. I think it's Eleazar, but let's look and see right quick.
Abraham Stewart.
It said, Lord, it said, I think it's chapter 16. No, 15. And Abraham said, Genesis 15, verse 2. And Abraham said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is Eleazar of Damascus. In other words, I go childless, I don't have any money inheritance. Eleazar, my steward, is from Damascus. He's a Syrian. So that was one of the places in the Bible about the steward receiving inheritance. But it says like a child that's shameful, better to give the steward. Is it a wise servant will get inheritance along the brethren rather than that son? They'll get that part. The rain go down any?
Yeah.
All right. We'll stop there. We'll pick up at verse number 3. Verse number 3, okay?
It's still blowing sheets.
Sheets
coming through.
It might subside
Best thing
tiny
to see.
bit.
Who can see something
It's tiny bit.
moving? But we used to have a little flag out there.
Yeah,
Tiny
the
bit.
green tree in the far right corner.
Got it. All right.
It's still
Still,
pretty good.
I mean, the cameras.
All right. Let's stand. We'll have a word of prayer. Be dismissed. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Sister. Good night. Good night.